Here we go.
The webinar
Thanksgiving
has
week.
started.
All right, Hubert Lee, what are you doing for Turkey Day?
I think it's turkey. I I think turkey's on the agenda.
Hey man, what do you think about like the turkey that has a duck inside and the duck has a pigeon,
Ah, yeah, I
whatever,
know, right? The turducken they call this thing.
turducken and the craziness.
Alexander has always, over the years, it's been a running joke that one day we'll wind up with one of these creatures.
Yeah. Okay.
All right,
Yeah.
so everybody's coming in. Thank you, everybody. It's going to be a good
Welcome.
session.
Shout out, give us a yell where you're calling from, and Bridget is with us, so we can tap into her
Excellent, Bridget.
magnificent expertise.
Yes. And the reason why we're saying that is because, as I mentioned in the email promos for this session, we're going to focus on a topic that we often don't get to, but I think this time we're going to make it top billing, and that's the use of images in our Limbic messaging work. And so I wanted to make sure to have some time with Bridget to kind of show you some things. She's a genius at it, but also she's very, very skilled at using MidJourney. Okay, so I've been exploring some other tools, but I know that she has a core expertise in MidJourney, so that's very exciting. So Bridget, if you're game for that, that'd be awesome.
She is. She said yes. That's a good thing. So,
That's awesome. Okay, so originally, let me just catch everybody, if you don't mind, so
yeah, of
that we
course.
can set the stage for this. Because I know a lot of, I'm looking at the guest list, and I know a lot of the people here weren't on, last week when we were talking about the typical limbic messaging. Okay, so I just referred to the graphic element of a website as an important figure, an important percentage of the impact that we can have in terms of the limbic messaging. But let's first start catching everybody up where we typically bring people to in terms of limbic messaging, and that's in the text, portion of it. So if you can give us a little backgrounder of what is limbic messaging, why it makes all the difference, and what the typical formats are and the outputs are of a limbic messaging session.
Yeah, so limbic messaging is messaging that targets the limbic or decision-making part of the brain. If you look at brain biology, around the perimeter of the brain, you have what we call the neocortex or thinking brain. Very important. It's responsible for telling you that you are supposed to stop at a stop sign, go at a green light, those kinds of things. But it doesn't make decisions. We make decisions in the heart of the brain, which is why we go like this, tapping our heart center based on emotions. We make decisions based on emotions like trust and loyalty, and we justify them with logic in our thinking brain. So, what do we want to do if you want to get more decisions made in your favor? You're going to use limbic messaging. Um, Hubert, you're looking fuzzy all of a sudden, my man. Just want to let you
Oh,
know.
really? Huh.
Yes. Your brand new camera, right? Isn't that the brand new
My
camera?
brand new camera.
It's looking all fuzzy. Okay, fine. So there are many forms of
Yeah.
messaging that we can use to create limbic messaging. The top three or four are invitations into a thought, such as we believe in long-term relationships. Another one is because something matters, because your success matters, for example. A third one is you deserve statements. You deserve to be heard. In each of those cases, if you believe in long-term relationships, you're like, yep, I believe in long-term relationships. If you believe your success matters, like, oh, yep, my success does matter. If you believe that you deserve to be heard, that's right, I do deserve to be heard. We can create an inducement of a yes state in the mind of the person who experiences the messaging. They're nodding their head yes internally, which means when it comes time to make a decision to buy your product, buy your service, sign up for your newsletter, whatever it may be, they're already predisposed to say yes. So limbic messaging is incredibly effective in the area of conversions, converting more prospects into clients, more readers into buyers, that sort of thing that we obviously want to do if we are in business and in commerce. When you combine a limbic message with an image, then of course it becomes even stronger because as we know, pictures say 1,000 words. If you're tapping the decision-making part of the brain with words and you're also visually stimulating an emotion from the past, we say pictures mean 1,000 words because the thinking brain is nowhere near as powerful as the feeling brain. When a picture evokes an emotion, that's what we mean by a picture means 1,000 words. That's what we're talking about. So combining those two is tremendous. Obviously, Historically, when you're looking at images, you're talking about needing to buy them, whether you have an account on Shutterstock or Stock Photos or whatever, iStock, and it's expensive. And you don't get exactly what you want. Now, with the advent of AI, it's not perfect yet, but it's getting better and better and better. And we're getting to a place where using AI tools, we can create images. And this is a very important point from a legal perspective. As many of you know, I'm an attorney, or reformed attorney anyway. And from a legal perspective, because AI is an iterative process and image generation is an iterative process, you own that image if you're the one who generated it. You don't have to worry about royalties. You don't have to worry about paying for it. You can create the image and make it yours and use it wherever you want. Not only that, you can store it. You can then make it a little different. So you could do something like this. And all those are different images, all belonging to you. And sometimes the goofier, the better. So there's a background. Hubert, turning it back over to you.
That's excellent. So before I take it back, I want you to tell the folks the typical formats, the text formats of a Limbic message.
Yeah. So basically, the easiest ones are we believe statements, as I mentioned, you deserve statements, because something matters statements, and we picture a world where statements. We picture a world where everyone has a free mind, whatever. That something goes, oh, I could see that. I believe that. That makes sense to me, and so on.
Excellent. And so, Ridgely, I'll do a preamble while you bring Bridget on. So the
Yep.
reason why I'm asking Bridget to come on is because Bridget is very, very good at picking the right limbic message from the client and superimposing it over a stock image, right? And so, the best kind of photography obviously is custom photography, but that's usually a big deal. You got to get a photographer on location and your place has to look nice. And, it's not often easy, especially if you're running a business, at a frantic rate, to take a day off to accommodate an on-site, photo kind of a day. So Bridget, if you don't mind sharing your screen, I'd like you to show off avatar marketing, which folks is a one of the sites that Bridget did for one of her clients. And she elicited, with Ridgely's help, a series of limbic messages in this format that Ridgely talked about. But Bridget took her client through a process by which they overlaid these limbic messages over a graphic image. So Bridget, if you don't mind explaining, like, what was that process like with the client and how did you guys kind of sort through? I'm sure you looked at a billion different stock images and tell us the nuts and bolts. What stock images did you use and what was the process like?
Yeah, so actually, I invited my client to have a strategy call with Ridgely and you, and we spent 2 hours plus going through each of their mind types and then putting together a list of all the I believe statements and you deserve statements so that we could now cherry pick for the website. And I kind of roughly put together this should be the home page and this should be this page and that page. And what they do is they're a marketing agency that helps inventors of products get into the health arena market, like on Whole Foods or those types of stores, but also small mom and pop shops throughout the US. So they have a sales team that helps you get there. But I came on early on, I was working with them for from the early 2000s. I'll just show you under services, the graphic design. This is all my work. We did package design, label design, brochures, things like that, and some of the clients that we worked with. And what's cool is you can click on one of these and then see the actual stuff that we did for them. And these were 3D renders. Back in the early 2000s, you'd have to get photographs of that, but we were able to create it in 3D and put it in product packaging right away. So they get a really nice image. So
That's awesome. I'm going to interrupt as we go along. And Ridgely, please feel free to point out the things as well. One of the things that triggered the thought in my head to make sure to mention to everybody, Bridget, is all the main landing pages on this website have a different graphic header with superimposed over it a different limbic statement. Can you kind of give us a tour of that? And Ridgely, I remember, you and Bridget in particular went through quite a bit to choose the right image for the right limbic message for the right page.
Right. So this is their consulting page. You know, we believe in sharing the process for a successful product launch. And then I think our services, they were from Kona, Hawaii. So they, you know, the triathlon was all a big thing. So we believe in persistence and crossing the finish line was that.
I love this. I love this image, by the way. It's
Yeah,
really strong.
and in particular, before we move away from it, one point that I want to make about it, we mentioned about this last week, where we had an example of a site where the limbic messaging was nice. It was there was a image superimposed behind it, but it was kind of like a map kind of a thing, right? And the we believe statement had something to do about global presence or something. But I said, hey, try pictures of humans. You,
Mhm.
there's nothing like that for engagement. This particular human in this stock photo is looking right at the viewer. When you
Mhm.
look at this, like you're drawn in because she's drawn into you. And then you read, you see her eyes, and then she's looking down and it says, "We believe in persistence," right? Like this is the perfect blend of using stock photography behind a customized limbic message. This one's great.
Yeah, and then I don't have all of the right ones picked out, but if you go to avatarmarketing.com, you can flip through all of them.
Hmm.
We provide a corporate model at least at less than corporate prices.
Yeah.
Um,
Now, I also want to say something, and Bridget, you know, I'm a little more sensitive than the average bear on this. Okay.
yes.
In that there's stock photography and then there's stock photography, meaning a pet peeve of mine is when things scream, "Hey, I'm from a stock photo site." Okay. And so I'm very sensitive to okay, so the girl on the left with that kind of a hairstyle, sooner or later it's gonna be like a little too dated for use as a stock photo. Right. So we're always constantly having to pay attention to kind of like these triggers and that sort of thing in terms of like, does this work or is that like too much of a canned stock photo? As a matter of fact, my son, who's a graphic designer, he and I played this game where we try to spot, and other graphic designers play this too. We try to spot famous stock photo models that appear in
It's
ads,
fun.
right? And so in a Verizon ad, you'll see, oh, that's stock lady number, whatever, whatever. And it's just like we just laugh our heads off.
Yeah, no, that's a good game. And you know, this actually these women might be a little too young for their target audience, but it still works, you know.
Hmm.
I love this one because we believe in listening and they are very intently listening.
Yes. Right.
So it's
And,
really,
and you see how it frames the text message?
Mhm.
That's great.
Yeah. So, you know, we may not position it in the same plot place in every page. We're going to position it so it's not covering their face or their eyes or their hands necessarily, because we also gain insight on what are they doing with their hands or their body movement.
Right, exactly. Now, before we leave this one, let me also mention here, Bridget is putting a Limbic message even on a utility page, right? This is not like a big marketing conversion type of page. This is a contact form, right?
Hmm.
It's a utility page, yet it makes all the difference when it's like it has a Limbic message and it's lavishly illustrated.
Yes. And another trick is to put you know, if you want them to call you, put it at the top so it's always there, and make it clickable. Like I won't be able to call them from my computer, but if I was on my phone, I could call right away.
Yes.
So
Now,
that's just
also,
another.
again, before you leave this one, let me just mention this. So, a technical trick, folks. I know a lot of you manage your own websites. Um, if you use something like WordPress or whatever you use, okay, there's the concept of the text portion that's superimposed over a base image. Okay. There's also the concept of, and you have to figure out how you to do it in your own environment, or you can always use something like Photoshop and do it on the image itself. In order to make the text pop, Bridget is putting it in white, and you can actually take whatever the photo is and darken it just enough, or put a screen layer on there. Or if you're doing it in Photoshop, even anticipating where the menu bar is going to be and darken those sections of the photograph, right? So Bridget, that's kind of like the little touches that a professional designer would go ahead and do.
Right. Like, can I go to another website? Or you want to
Yes.
keep going through
No,
this
no,
one?
no. Please go to another. Also, I'd like you to show, if you may, just so that you keep this in mind. Do you remember, because we're going to lead the discussion into AI generated images. Do you remember
Mm.
you recently in one of the hot seats that you came on where you did like a woman warrior, Christian warrior type
Yeah,
of
I have that
AI
website
art.
up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so if you talk us through that one eventually, that's like cutting edge.
Yeah. So this is actually one of our members, Doorknob Consulting, and her website before she had 5 websites, and they were not too appealing, right? And so the assignment for me was to take them all and put it into one website. And so we ran her through the brand strategy. You know, I use all of Ridgely's prompts that he gives us, and you know, it's at least a 2 or 3 hour session to really get a brand strategy fleshed out, like who's your target audience, what are the pages you're going to use, and what are all the limbic messages that you're going to tie in. And then once you have your limbic messages identified, then his Uber power prompt is to limbify all the website content, which I love. So you can see that this really speaks to them as how they can relate to the site. And we've got individual young adult coaching. So this is a faded image, right? And we did a little Photoshop work to fade it over here a little bit more, but you can see it's just colorized, but then we have a place for the text, and then the adult coaching. So that's more symbolic, but it really is in the pictures. How do you relate to the picture? So this is more story driven, but then this is a human driven, and we're looking at two people looking at each other. So this is a central point. So you don't necessarily put text in here because this has power right here, right?
Right. Yeah. Now, before you go on, let me just also mention a technique that some of you may have noticed, some may not. When you go and you choose stock photos, oftentimes, most of the time, you don't work within one photographer's portfolio. You pick them at random to pick your theme. As such, you may get pictures of differing color values and all of that that may not work so well together. One trick here that Brigette is doing is putting this purple overlay over all of them and unifying the set through color. So that's pretty sophisticated.
Yeah. And then this orange, you know, really sticks out. Your call to action button needs to be bright so they know to click on it. And you want to have call to actions, you know, almost in every scroll. Okay. Submit button, that's another call to action. And then so let's go to Michelle McHenry.
Yeah, I know this one. Tell us before you take us through. So the other sites that you showed as an example, I call it the traditional stock photo way. Okay, so again, there's custom photography, then there's regular stock photography, which you saw some examples of, and then there's the cutting edge of AI. Okay, so now Brigette, kind of give us your sense as to how you came to accept it, embrace it, and then now finally like dominate it. Like you know, your level of mastery of some of the AI tools for images is incredible. So tout yourself a little bit and just kind of tell us your story of how you wound up adopting AI.
Well, I adopted it because Ridgely showed me, and I was all in. And I'm also in an AI expert certification program on top of that. So we're in it with 100 other people learning what they're using and how they're using it. And for me, my focus is, most people know me for slide design, but I also do other graphic design. And my slide design has developed such that I believe all slideshows should be like a Hollywood movie. That's my limbic message. And so when you look at this image, that has a Hollywood effect to it. It's very dramatic. You know, our eyes see the sword going off to the top, but we see her eyes and she's looking at something over to the right. So our eyes move around, yet it's very easy to read the text on top of the image. And then this image is a little more AI driven, but still it shows this deep emotion of the struggle of being a Christian married woman and how do you deal with all the stuff you have to deal with. So it's based in a Christian beliefs, but also in ancient history and stuff like that. So you've got the map and you've got these images, and each one has its own picture, right?
Right. Now, are these, just a question, are all of these images completely AI created?
Yes.
Okay, so that's pretty awesome because, you know, Ridgely and I had,
This one isn't. That's a photo.
right. Because as early adopters, one of the things we shied away from was the models just weren't quite there yet in terms of, you know, you don't want to like set any alarm bells off. So speak to us about your tool set and what you do, and like how involved is a prompt to create an image like this?
Very, very involved. I mean, the more you can get descriptive and almost like, when you're writing a screenplay, and the actor is this old and they look like this and this ethnicity or whatever, you want to be very clear on what do you want. So some of these, we didn't necessarily say ethnicity, but we said area and the year, like early, near biblical times, right? And then asked, adorn her with protective gear and this and that. And it was amazing how we didn't have to put that much into it, which it really gave us some rich stuff. The other thing is you want to be careful. You're not seeing many hands here. Say hands aren't so good. On a rare
Right.
occasion, you might hit it, but hands and arms, sometimes I would get 3 arms on a person.
Right. Exactly.
So
So
you just want to make
is
sure
it
you
fair
find.
to say that the prompt for an image such as this is at least a beefy paragraph, if not several?
Oh yeah. In fact, I've used ChatGPT to write me a prompt for MidJourney.
Wow. So the prompt would include things like camera angle and cinematic look, and just give us a flavor of that, because not many, I think, on this call have that level of expertise.
I haven't done it in a couple of months, so it's lit out of my head. It's basically like, is it a wide angle lens? Is it a close-up lens? Wide angle would we get the whole room, whereas a close-up we just see a little bit of the room. What is the light like? Is it sunlight shining into a window in a bedroom, but the bedroom's dark? Are there flowers on the table? Is the room dark or is it bright? Is there paintings on the wall? All this kind of stuff that you normally wouldn't think of. And here's another trick. If you find an image you like on a photo bank,
Mhm.
but you can't use that image or it's not quite right image, you can upload that image and ask them, tell me what the MidJourney prompt is. And ask it for a detailed MidJourney prompt. You do this in ChatGPT, upload the image, and it will give you the prompt, and then you can iterate the prompt to be what you're looking for. So that's
Wow.
like my secret tip.
That's a great one. Thank you for sharing that.
Mhm.
One of the challenges that I personally had, and I know that there are professionals that this has become like their expertise, and they've actually rolling out some products to do this. The concept is of consistent characters, meaning you've shown us a couple of pages now on this website, and these images are of a set, meaning they have they evoke the similar kind of feel. How do you ensure that? And I think it's because of the sophistication of the tool, MidJourney in particular. But how are you ensuring this consistency across these images? Do you make sure you do it all at one shot, or like how would you ever go back to it? And the reason why, folks, I'm asking that is because AI is generative, and typically it has no memory, which means that the second time you enter that prompt, you could get something that's so totally different that you can't use it in conjunction with the first outputted image. You want to speak to that,
Might
Jim?
want to upload an image and say, I want to create another image that looks like this person. It looks like this is the same person. You might try that. I haven't run into that too much because I haven't created a bunch of different images of the same actor, so to speak.
Mhm.
So like these blog posts, these are just simple blog posts. We just put in the blog and say, create me an image for it, you know, and um, you
Wait, are
know,
you doing that? Are
it's
you doing that in MidJourney, or are you doing that in ChatGPT?
no, this was MidJourney. These were all MidJourney.
Very cool.
But Ideogram is another thing that I've been using a lot of. And I just thought of the name. I was trying to remember the name earlier, but Ideogram, can I go to it real quick?
Yeah, sure.
I think it's .ai. Oh, I have to log in. Can't remember my login.
Oh,
It's Google. Let's try this.
okay. So
So what happens?
tell us what this tool is.
It's just another generative AI where you put a prompt in here and then you generate it. So I don't think this is my paid account. But this is what you don't have to pay to get this.
Hmm.
But what you could do is you could go through and go, wow, that looks pretty cool. How'd they do that? So you click on it and there's the prompt. So here's the prompt they used. Okay. And then here's a magic prompt that's a little different, or it might be the same one. Anyway, they have this magic prompt and you can copy that and say, give her black hair, make her look older, or whatever you want, but you like the painting style, you like the style of it. So this is a way to get a quick prompt. And what I do is I like to look for the way they do text. I love the way that text is and the colors. What did they say to get this? Okay, so you would click on it and then look at the prompt. So this is where I do my researching for prompt descriptions. And there's a ton of stuff and they're loading stuff every minute. So ideogram.
That's a
Cool.
great tip. Great. So
Yeah.
here's more of a user experience type of question. Okay. Go back to the Michelle site, please. And I'm going to ask you this. And I want Ridgely's opinion as well.
Where is it?
people watching may say, well, first off, I want you to explain, like,
There it is.
did the client come to you with this creative direction, or did you pitch her on it? Because it's not everybody, and certainly it's not most of the people on the chat that would say, oh yeah, let's do you know, Dungeons and Dragon fantasy type stuff and it'll fit my blog as a dentist. I mean, like, that's not exactly gonna work. Like,
No.
But
Yeah,
yet
the
this is
creative
very
director.
organic.
Yeah.
Right. So how did you
So
achieve that?
I'm not gonna take credit for this one because it was already pre-designed from her. She had a very long 50 question survey that she would identify which is your what does she call it? What's your power? So as a woman warrior, what's your power? So you click here and you go through all these questions. So this quiz was generated by someone else who gave her the idea of this Christian, history stuff. So she generated the originals and then we just dovetailed onto it. She gave us her prompts. But yes,
Okay.
as a creative
So-
director, we're looking at what is the story we're telling? What is the experience and the emotion we want? And that's when that limbic messaging comes in where we can put that in there and get some better images for it.
Right. So actually, the way their ideation process went, you couldn't do this if it weren't for AI. Because you're not going to do a Peter Jackson movie and get everybody in character and on set
Never.
and fly them all to New Zealand and, build a village and everything. I mean, like, you have to do it with AI.
And her whole slide deck, she had an hour talk and her whole slide deck completely changed because of AI, where we could get some more descriptive storytelling visuals, where she's
Awesome.
like flipping through a book and telling a story.
Right. Awesome. So we've seen the mundane all the way to AI. Ridgely, why don't you bring on our hot seat guest, and then we'll kind of, Bridget, stay on because I'll need to
Okay.
pick your brain, and we'll kind of explore, how some of the more typical image selection type of things would go. Do we have a hot seat person?
Yeah, we do. And you're going to pull up our PAF images, right? And just play a little bit with that too.
Yes, exactly. That's what we're gonna do it live in real time. And
All right.
oh, it's awesome. It's Dr. Todd.
There we go. Dr.
Hey,
Todd.
Dr. Todd.
Hey, how we doing?
Nice to
Good,
meet you.
brother.
Thanks for joining our mastermind. Now you know what we talk about, when the camera's rolling. Anyway, Todd,
Perfect.
I want you to meet Bridget. Bridget, this is one of our clients, Dr. Todd.
Hey, Dr. Todd.
So
Nice to meet
Todd,
you, Bridget.
I don't know what your interest is in AI assisted image generation, but we got the big guns on board now. So anything you want to do, we could totally, get it done.
Perfect.
So take us a tour a little bit on PAF images first, Hubie,
Yes.
just to give Todd a sense of what's possible because it's kind of crazy.
Yes. So actually, let me share my screen, and Bridget, feel free to jump in with anything because you've used a lot of our tool set and everything. So I'm gonna go to, hold on, I'm gonna share a region of my screen because I'm having issues, as you all saw. Okay, so
Yeah, you're
portion of
having
the
issues because you just upgraded everything and now your stuff is just like working sort of.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so can you guys see something?
We
Yes.
see PAF brain, but we need to go to PAF images.
Yes, correct. But on the way to PAF images, I want to remind everybody to make use of their membership and remind you of our proprietary AI tools that you can take advantage of. So we have the PAF brain, which is optimized towards doing limbic messaging. We have the offers AI that some of you have as beta testers, and the rest of you can access as we roll out our new membership. We have a copywriting AI brain that is tuned for specific ways to generating copy. We have even an email sequence writer that is pretty, pretty robust. And today we hardly ever talk about it, but we're talking about the AI images portion. Okay, so now Bridget, this is woefully lacking compared to the firepower of your, paid tools, but this is available to everybody in the membership.
And it's actually very valuable. I want you to know that because
excellent.
you can generate what you've been able to generate is like mind blowing.
Okay, awesome. So I'm gonna pick your brain to do that. So now let me also augment what you were showing with and demonstrate the power of images. Okay, so Dr. Todd, you'll be interested in what we've done in the past with maybe some of our other clients, but there's a dental practice over in Brownstown, okay, and it's this guy here, Dr. Ben Hansen, and so portraiture, Bridget, is often key, but not just always like taking a picture, looking at the camera. When you take natural poses, you find opportunities such as this, where, I mean, he's genuinely like, reflecting on something or whatever, and he happens to be looking this way towards the text, right? And so that's emphasizes the, the limbic message of we believe in new beginnings, right? And then that sets the stage for the nice visuals of the site and everything else. And now, particularly using images in the blog to liven it, because most small businesses that blog, you just get acres and acres of text, and it really helps to have relevant pictures for the practice for the blog posts, right? And so, this one's about convenience of your smile, and there's one of the dentists. Here's another one of the dentists, and it's Dr. Jacob. And so, for example, let me go to his blog post. So here, we're actually even using a graphic header. We believe in confidence and self-esteem. And here's a patient, and here's Dr. Jacob, right? So this is custom photography. There's the door behind them. It says Brownstown, and that's their door, right? So that's composited. And so here's a get to know Dr. Palmer post, right? Welcome, Dr. Palmer. And here he is there, right? So they had a professional photographer come and take pictures. That's Dr. Jacob. And then this is the blog post, and the blog post is, SEO optimized and everything. But here's kind of like B-roll pictures. That's Dr. Palmer. And here's his credentials and outside the office, and here he is, and you see what a difference a lavishly illustrated blog post makes. I mean, yes, this is high effort, but it's well worth it. When people land on this, they're like, okay, wow, this is like something about Dr. Jacob. Any comments about that, Ridgely?
Yeah, no, it's just so important because otherwise it is that acres of text thing that goes on in blogs everywhere, and it just doesn't work, and it's boring. And
right,
so
exactly. Okay, and especially and
of course, as we talk about often, half of the blog post is written for human consumption,
yes,
and the other half is written for bots and crawlers and search engines and whatever. Equally important.
Yes, and super important are the pages, the bio pages, right? So here's meet Dr. Lauren, right? Dr. Lauren Bernanke, and here's her limbic statement. We picture a world where anyone can have a beautiful, confident smile. And there she is with her beautiful, confident smile. And then as you scroll the page, rather than having all that text is on here, but look how we're like lavishing the viewer with the graphics, right? I mean, it makes a completely different experience before you get to the call to action. Okay.
Well, and it also enables us to keyword stuff like crazy and put in meta tags and all kind of schema code and other stuff to get her to rank. And not to be funny, but Brownstown completely dominates their marketplace in Michigan where they live with, I don't know, like 75 #1 keywords and a bunch of other stuff where they're
right. Exactly. So again, this is one of the high-end approaches where you're doing custom photography, for the practice. Okay. The stock photography route is what Bridget showed you. And then she also showed you the AI route. Okay. And so with that as a preface, so that you kind of see these different approaches, we're going to look at a typical AI image tool. I'm going to go in here and look, Bridget, I'm working on my own avatar.
No, there you go. You're looking good.
I keep getting my uncles and my grandpas, but I'm not getting myself. Okay. So typically okay, so actually since we have these here, let me click on here and kind of show you what the, hold on, let me do it this way.
And ask Todd if he wants us to do something specific too.
Yes, so for sure, Todd, anytime you want to jump in and want to play with something, let us know. But look at the extent, and Brigette is way better than me at writing the prompts on this. But it's things like create an avatar with the following characteristics, right? And I'm going to take the time to read this because of the things that you have to think of that you ordinarily wouldn't, okay? Appearance, a cheerful, friendly, completely bald, smooth-shaven, 60-year-old Asian man with squinting eyes and broad Asian nose with low bridge, okay? So I graciously found a way, a non-racist way to talk about like what I look like, right? It's not exactly easy. Style, clean cartoon style with subtle signs of age, e.g. fine lines. Expression, warm and approachable smile with lips parted and teeth showing. Clothing, white shirt and tie. Background, light plain background. Overall vibe, professional yet approachable. Okay, so now, Brigette, you probably find that this is kind of lacking in detail, but that was my prompt to get this.
No, you did very good. So you didn't submit a picture? You
I-
can't submit a picture?
I did not submit a picture. This program does not let you submit a picture.
But look how good it looks. It's amazing.
Yeah, right? Okay, so just to show everybody how AI images works, this is the dashboard, and you can choose to store photos. Okay, here are some photos from other projects that we used as backgrounds for various things. Okay, now the other trick that Brigette and I use all the time is that if you're concerned with that the details of a photo here won't survive like scrutiny, all you have to do is use this as a background and then use something like Photoshop and use sections above it, meaning you might have a banner in which you have a headline and you screen it back to kind of demote what's going on in the background. And so it just gives you, instant stock photography, let's say, that you can generate that people don't necessarily catch out as like AI generated. Okay. So you click on create image and the interface is very, very simple. Okay. So let's just do something silly like
Well, ask Todd what he wants.
yes, Todd, do you have any suggestions as to what kind of a dental image?
No, I have no idea.
Okay, so let's just try something. Dental uh waiting room. Okay, let's just say dental waiting room. Okay. Now, you can have many different styles. Okay, now earlier, Brigette talked about what she would instruct in the prompt. Here, the approach here is that it's presented as a pick list. Okay, so there's realistic, cartoon style, which is what I used with the other one. Uh, all kinds of art terms here. Street photographer, photography, whatever. Let's just choose hyperrealism. Prompt type is like, do you want to take this literally, or is there more freedom, and you treat that as a base idea? Okay, I'm going to just hit exact. And an image size, it doesn't matter what you choose. It depends on, how big an image you want. I'm just going to leave it as a square 1024. Now let's just kind of see what comes out. I'm going to hit generate image. And remember, all we prompted was dental waiting room. Okay. Now what's going on behind the scenes is that the program is actually taking in the image style and the sizing, and it's creating an image. Okay, so obviously there's AI stuff that doesn't make sense here. Okay, this painting in the back, this illustration here is particularly gruesome, and it makes no sense from a dental perspective, right? And so you don't really want to put this front and center because like these molars don't make sense. I mean, like AI doesn't know what's going on here. I mean, if you found a human like this, doctor, you'd say, "I'm sorry, I can't help you." I mean, it's like, right? So, and Brigette, this character here is a little uncanny valley-ish, like this, like something spooky here, and you really don't want to, whatever. But basically, what I was talking about before was imagine, and I wouldn't go with this image at all, but imagine that you create. You see how I'm highlighting this section here? You create a section like this over your image. You pop in a gray color, but you still make it transparent, and then you put text over there so that this stuff in the back that bothers you isn't really as visible. So there's all kinds of tricks like that. Okay. But otherwise, Bridget, this area down here with the chairs, this came out all right.
It's very clean. Yeah. And what I love it too, because I'm an expert in Photoshop, and before computers, I was an airbrush artist. So understanding masking and all that kind of stuff that you had to do with really intricate airbrush, I would take an image like this and it's like, okay, I can't do it here, but I can bring it into Photoshop, which also has AI capabilities to, expound on things. But yeah, what you're saying, for most of us, we don't have access to that, and yet still it's a usable image. And if you like put a banner with a colored bar in it or something and put text on top, it can mute the stuff behind it.
Right. And now here's one of the big secrets. Okay. As a business owner, when you go in and you engage a designer or a graphic artist, much of the frustration of that is you not expressing to the artist's satisfaction of what you want. Here, as a small business owner with access to tools like this, you can take a stab at it and then bring that to your artist and say, it's kind of like this. And they're going to instantly get like the vibe that you're going after. So that's a big shortcut for small business owners that are working with professional graphic design people. Now,
And
the
and
other
share,
thing,
and share your prompt with them as well. Just
yes,
so they have a
exactly.
head start if they need to iterate.
Right. Now, let me show you the nature of generative AI. When without changing anything, if I click generate image again, it will come up with a completely new image, right? So when you're browsing tools like this and you generate something, if you think you like it, save it right away because there's no going back to it necessarily. Okay. Now, again, this is like crazy bad here in terms of these teeth. Like, something is not quite right. So it's not ready for prime time in terms of maybe some subject matter type of things. But okay, so now let me put.
I don't know if you'd see an actual dental chair in a waiting room either.
Oh, that's true. Mature smiling woman in dental. I'm just gonna make it easier. In dental office. Let's see what it says. Okay, and so we're just playing around, but the idea is that you can use simple tools like this to kind of get you most of the way there. Okay, and in fact, well, this is a little spooky, but let me try a
Well,
different one.
hyperrealism is really kind of goes a strong edge. You might want
Yes,
to try a different image style.
that's true. I'm going to switch it back down to just realistic. And then we're going to check in with Dr. Todd and ask him what his particular. This one's a little better. The mouth is wacky here. So a dentist wouldn't use this. But let me go to realistic and hit generate image. And then also make the following point. The following point, well, actually, let me whatever comes up, I'm gonna save it and just show you the prompt. Okay. Okay, so here's a photo that I'm sure there are some things that don't make sense, and she's looking a little plasticky or whatever. But let me just save the image and show you a couple of things. So I'm gonna call it woman patient. And I'm gonna hit save image. And the reason why I'm saving the image is to show you how it shows up in the dashboard. I'm going to go to the dashboard. Here's the image. And when you click on it, oh, it didn't give the system prompt. I thought it gave the full system prompt here. Okay, so now remember earlier we talked about how, oops, let me go back to this dentist post here. These blog posts here. So let me go to this one. I'm just randomly hitting the most recent one. Okay, so this one's a video. And here is content. Okay, so while this image here, like this, is not usable the way it is, imagine that it's much smaller, right? So imagine that it's a small kind of a size, right? Like imagine it's this size, and then imagine that it's in the context of this blog post. So suddenly, if it takes up, this column space right here, it's doable because the level of scrutiny it's given is not as high. Okay, so you could use that to illustrate your blog post. Now, frankly, this blog post here does need more imagery in it just to kind of break it up. Okay, so I just wanted to share that as another usage of it as well. Anything to add to that, Bridget, originally?
Well, I'd love to see Bridget go to MidJourney and do something, make
Yeah.
something, show us what's possible at the next level. Because that's just Hubert messing around with the low level AI prompts, not so much like what you deal with. But we want to know what's possible.
Yes, but can I give you an extra constraint?
Okay.
Can we see? Okay, so obviously, like a fantasy hero warrior thing is possible, but what can MidJourney do that a dentist like Dr. Todd might be able to use? So can MidJourney do like smiling mature woman?
Possibly. I just have to warn you that I wasn't prepared to do this, and I've been having trouble logging into MidJourney because it's using an old email that I don't have access to that email anymore. So, I don't know if I could log in with just a regular email and just get in free.
Right. If not, that's fine. I mean,
Yeah, if not, that's
the whole
fine.
idea.
And while you're doing that, I do have some things to on my punch list to show everybody. So do you want me to talk about something else while you do that?
Yes, please.
Okay, cool. Okay, so did you have a thought originally?
No, only just I want to show people how you can manipulate, like to take that initial image that you had and increase the detail of the prompt such that it's constantly tweaking. So you're only just you're only starting with the initial image, and then you can go all kinds of different directions.
Exactly. Okay, so Bridget, maybe some of these are new to you too, but I just wanted to share. Oops, I just wanted to share some things with you here. Let me hold on. My screen sharing is out of control. Hold on. Let me get my screen share back in. Here we go. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen again. Hopefully my camera doesn't go wonky again. Okay. All right. So here. Okay. So let me go to this one here. All right. So there are now, believe it or not, websites where the concept is like a stock photo website, except that everything on there is AI generated. Okay, so meaning you're getting great AI artists or prompt writers who are so like happy with their work that they're putting it up for you to use at no cost as a stock image. Okay, so Bridget, maybe it's within reach for you, but like I would not be able to prompt to this level. I mean,
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble logging in, so I wasn't really paying attention to what you're showing.
okay, can
I
you
don't
see
think
my can you see my screen now?
Yes.
This is this is called Lumni, and
Mhm.
it's like the concept of a stock photo site, except that everything on here is AI generated,
Right.
which is
And
pretty
so
cool.
can you click on one of the images and see the prompt they used?
Let's see. Let's go with this bald guy. No, they're hiding the prompts.
But the description right there is pretty good. If you were to take that description and put it in MidJourney or something, what would it get? You know?
Right, yeah. What
So
if
basically, you're
sorry,
taking advantage of grabbing the stuff, and then using a different AI tool to create what you're looking for.
what if I go back to our tool and put it in there? This is the ultimate stress test originally of our tool.
Okay.
Yeah, try that.
I don't, yeah, let's see. I don't know if this is going to work or not. We've never tried this, folks, before. Images. Okay, here we go. Create image. Let's go and take that and put it in here. Make this realistic. And let's see what we get. It's going to be something horrible originally, and then we're going to be embarrassed.
I don't think so.
Holy smokes, that's pretty decent, Bridget.
Let me see. Yeah, it's not bad at all.
It's not like usable on a business blog. It's a little too well, actually, maybe if it was like 2 inches by 2 inches. But
Yeah, it might be. And so it's just really reiterating what do you say? Um, and also maybe changing the age or something if you want them a little older. The other thing is, what is the choice in prompt type? You have exact. What are the other choices there?
Base idea. Let's switch
Okay,
it to
what would
base
that
idea and hit
generate?
generate image. Let's say.
And remember, everybody, if you do have someone in graphics that you're working with, you can also use these tools to create the concept of what you're looking for and then give it to your artist and say, this is what I want done your way.
Right.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad. Again, it's like it's not perfect. There's something weird going on with his collar over here. And but if this was like a tiny little thumbnail, that's certainly usable.
Right, and if you get something good enough that you want to use, you find a graphic artist who does have Photoshop, they can go and fix that in a couple of minutes,
Right, yeah, right, for sure. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna stop my share for a second. Let me bring up another thing that I wanted to show off and show you how this one's by way of being careful. This is back in the sometimes AI is still not ready for prime time yet. And so let me share my screen here, portion of the screen, hit share. Okay, now here. One of the biggest stock agencies in the world, Adobe Stock, okay? You can get images from them that's labeled generated with AI, okay? But just because it's on a major stock house doesn't mean anything. I mean, look at this weirdness here. Look at this leg. This shoe fits, but this one doesn't. You see that, Bridget? Isn't that weird?
Yeah, that's very common actually.
Yeah, exactly. And yet they're selling this for $79 on a major stock website. So it makes you shake your head as to like what's going on. Right? And so this is just to illustrate that it's cutting edge. Everybody on this call with the tools that you have, and especially if you want to start, branching into the expertise that Bridget has, you can outdo what's happening, sometimes at these major companies that's like for whatever reason letting like weird stuff like this get through.
Now,
Yeah, I
talk to us.
finally got my MidJourney open.
Oh, okay, great. So if you want to just give us a little tour of what you see, that'll be great. And then we'll give it back to Ridgely and maybe he can help Todd a little more than I have.
No, let's see if we can create a person giving a lecture in front of other professionals.
Like that one right there. Look at that. It read your mind, Ridgely.
Yeah.
The problem is these people are not facing the screen. Very
No.
common.
There's another screen behind him.
It's not though. It's like they're
No.
facing, he's talking like he's looking at another screen, and then there's this other screen behind it. So it gets kind of wonky, You could see I tried many different ways to get a speaker. And again, this is kind of weird, right?
Yeah, but these are
I
quite
could
good, actually.
spend 2 hours iterating this. It's
Right.
crazy. But in like a close-up one, still they're facing the wrong way, but this is really great. I mean, look at the detail of this image.
That's a
It's
great image.
Yeah. Yeah. And so when you do this, when you click on this and click open in browser, you get the actual image. I mean, you could download this and use it. You could probably crop this out or whatever, but even just the hair and stuff, it's very photogenic, right?
So you could totally, I'm sorry to interrupt. So I'm just trying to think of like how like a Dr. Todd would use this. So
So let's
maybe if he was trying to like address a certain avatar, right? Target audience or whatever. And this is the type of person that he's after. Having shots based on his avatar might be good in some of his promotional literature.
Right. So like, I would start, with an image that has a similar prompt, like the camera angle AR 16:9, that gives me a slide size, the 16:9 format. Style raw is typical, S750 is typical. And then it was upscaled, but copying a prompt like this and then just putting in like, what would you really want it to be? You know, is it a dimly lit conference room or is it a brightly lit dental office? You know, sleek modern design.
Color.
Sorry. I got a new iPhone and I don't know how to use it.
Oh, so just can you explain for everybody? People might be looking at this and say, "Hey, you're in Discord here. Like, what's going on?" So, is that
Right.
how MidJourney works? Can
now.
MidJourney work on its own standalone?
Not yet. I don't think it has yet. They are working on that. But for when I started joining MidJourney over a year ago, you required you have a Discord account. Okay. So I'm in Discord, but I have my own private room right here. Babylon Art Server is what I call it. You can call it whatever you want. And then there's public rooms here where you can see what are other people doing. And a lot of times I would go and steal prompts from them. So if I were, so this is a MidJourney bot. Let's see.
What's the cost of MidJourney?
I'm paying $20 a month,
Mhm.
but you can do it for free. You just won't have as much render time.
Okay. And how difficult is it to kind of like get proficient at it?
Well, you could be proficient. You could get lucky and be proficient in the first try, you know, but really, so like this is the newcomer room. Like, look how beautiful this is. If you like cats, that's kind of cool. So you kind of just go through different images and see, oh, I like that. What is the prompt? Really, it's just seeing what the prompts are to get these images. Okay. And they're just experimenting too. Like, you know, this is a fox and another fox and it's in a circle. Looks like they're trying to create a logo or something.
Right.
And they
Now,
might be uploading.
how is it
with
grouping it? How is it grouping it in sets of 4? What is that about?
Whatever you render, it does 4 images. It gives you 4 versions of what you want, depending
What-
on how detailed your prompt is, will
Well,
be
that's
how
cool.
similar or different they are. And so once you see one, then you click on it and then render it bigger, or you might iterate the prompt.
Right.
Okay.
So then again, I'm asking you, like, how do you bring it down from like art project level to like an entrepreneur or small business owner level? Like, do you ever see pictures being produced that are like for more mundane marketing usage?
Yes. Yeah. I've actually used it a lot for, let me see, for other clients' work, you know, like for blog posts and stuff. I mean, I don't know if it's going to render everything, but like I had to get this apple and I kept rendering the apple, but it was way too many watermarks on it, right? Or the angle wasn't right, or I was going to cut out the background, so I wanted it on white. And I was just using it for a slide, but I think I rendered a lot of different apples, and we were comparing a good apple with a rotten apple. You know, like if you have one rotten apple and a bunch of good apples. And so I wasn't able to generate it together. And so I was putting it together in Photoshop, right?
Mhm.
And so like, here's a good apple, then it turned rotten. So I was comparing the two. So it's really seeing, you know, from a creative standpoint, how can I get it? And so then I asked, can you describe this image? This is just an image I pulled of some supplement pills. And so it described it, and then I get to pick one, and then I could render it, you know, so I need a bunch of them together, and I needed this
wow.
for another slide, right?
Okay, so this would be, for example, for your avatar marketing site that we
Right,
saw.
for a client like that.
Okay, so these originally would totally be great in like a blog post as a featured image in a blog post about supplements.
Right. Obviously, these are round, and we don't see round supplements, so it does kind of go off the rails a little bit. But if I kind of scroll through here, some of these handshakes, body was weird, you know, which one's better? It's a doctor so this was for a doctor and a lawyer, but it was a chiropractor, not a doctor, and chiropractors don't wear these things.
Right.
So how do you designate a chiropractor, right? And then there was women, you know, business women working together and an older woman. You get different faces and the body position's a little weird. So you can see one prompt gives you 4 different ideas. And then you can click on one and just use that one to iterate even further. Okay. So I could spend an hour doing all these iterations to get maybe a handful of images that I can use, but I'm high quality. I want real good quality. I'm looking at this image, is it timeless? You know, but for most people, they can generate something fairly quickly, you know,
And
that could be
and
usable.
And is it your intuition that you would go to this nowadays before going to stock photo route?
Um, well, I have a team that actually searches for all my images now, so I'm not doing it as much anymore. But it really depends because I've been doing graphics for over 30 years and using image banks. We pretty much know all the different image banks and what kind of image. Oh, well, we need to go to that bank to get that kind of image. So we know what the image banks have, and of course, a lot of the image banks. One we use a lot is FreePic, FREEPIK. Is it free? Yeah, it's free. But you're going to see a lot of high quality images that you have to pay for. And really, my membership once a month is $10. It's nothing.
Oh, okay. So is that a good source for people trying to make Limbic messaging headers on their website?
Yeah, it could be. What I love about their images is, it depends on what are you searching for, and is your search good enough to find that particular image?
Can you
And
just
then
bring up
also,
FreePic? Can you bring
sure.
up FreePic so that people see what FreePic is?
Yeah. So FREEPIK, and then so you can see they got some really nice images. I think we used a
Oh,
lot
and
of,
I see they also have AI generation.
yes, and so you can create AI as well. And so the doorknob consulting, we used a lot of AI images for this. So you could see there's some really nice stuff. What is free, what is paid, when you roll over it,
Right.
it'll tell you.
Can you enter high-end dentist office?
Mm-hmm. So we want to go with photo.
Yeah,
Okay.
photo.
Do you want the front office or just that?
No, just that. Let's see what comes up.
So, this could be actual photos. They're showing multiple offices.
Right.
It kind of depends on, what are you looking for and stuff. But this is the first, anything with a crown is a paid image. So you have to have a membership to get those images. But if it doesn't have a crown, you can download that and just attribute with it, the person who took the image. I think most of the crowns are going to be digital images. Like this looks like an AI image.
Right.
And I don't know if they distinguish if it's AI or not. I think they might.
Right.
I'm not seeing
Okay.
here.
Can you just so that we get a sense, can you just put in smiling mature woman? I just want to see kind of like the sense of what they have.
In a high-end dental office or just
No,
smile
just a new query. Smiling mature woman.
up close?
It doesn't matter.
So you
Okay,
get a
so
lot of variety.
right. Okay, so this is a reasonable alternative to a lot more expensive traditional stock agencies.
Yeah. I mean, this woman, there's no charge for this image. You just have to attribute it. It tells you at the bottom. Just make sure that you give them credit because these are actual photographs that are taken or images that were created, but they're not as super high quality like one of these might be. Like if you
Right.
look at her and her smile, she's got some nice white teeth. She's got a really good smile. This could be worth more than some of the other images.
Right. Yeah. And actually, I used to think that attribution was bad, but actually, the when you have to attribute the photographer, if you put in your blog post, photo courtesy of, you know, Federico Giller, the reader takes that as a good sign that, oh, he's working with a photographer.
Exactly, exactly. And it gives you the attribution somewhere around here where you just copy and paste it. I think it's one of these links or something. And yeah, just, exactly. Give them credit. They're working hard too.
Right, exactly. I think that's awesome. Richly, I think Bridget has really given us some gold here.
Yeah, no, and it certainly makes it certainly makes it uh clear that we're getting there, right? And that was the point of this unusual mastermind. Usually we focus on words and what people need for marketing, etc. But images, if we think about where we were 6 months ago here, it's
Yeah.
so much better, man. It was all wackadoodle hands coming out of people's heads, all that nonsense, right, Bridget?
Right.
Remember? I mean, it was tough. Now this is, while it may not be ready for high end stuff, it's certainly getting there. And obviously you're making great use of it. So thank you very much for
Just one
sharing.
more thing. You can see how big this file size is. This is very nice size. So we could crop in and just get her head, and we have a lot of space for text here. So you want to look at the layout of the image. We don't need to see her whole dress, but just to see her head, maybe her neck, and then you've got your limbic message over here, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nice.
Nice.
All right. I know we're all going to have to endure Hubert and turkey jokes. So I just know it's coming. So go ahead, Hubert. You may as well.
No. It wasn't a turkey joke. I had prepped a dentist joke. So is Dr. Todd still on?
He had to go take care of a patient.
Okay. So you guys can ponder this one. What's the most popular state for dentists to move to when they retire? Originally, you should know this one.
I don't know. Bridget, you got anything? I got nothing.
The most popular state for dentists. Florida.
I did come up with Florida, but I couldn't see how it related to dentists until you said
Fluoride.
Okay, fine, whatever. All right. There's great Thanksgiving here in the United States. I know, obviously not in South Africa and Europe, etc. So be a little slow for the rest of the week. But next week we will be reconvening, of course, and checking on times. We're going to meet Wednesday, the 4th of December at 12 o'clock noon Pacific, 3 o'clock Eastern, 12 noon Pacific, 3 o'clock Eastern, which is 8 o'clock in Western Europe. So join us then. And obviously the following week we will have Mind Types After Dark. So Brigette, thank you very much for your expertise. Really appreciate you. Awesome.
Thank you, Brigette.
And Hubert, really glad you got the filter off your camera, so now we can see you as opposed to Mr. Fuzzball that you were there.
Yeah, I know. I got so fuzzy. I got to take my whole system apart, figure out what's going on. It's an internet unstable, so something other than me is unstable around here.
All right. Again, 3 o'clock Eastern time next week on Wednesday the 4th. Have a happy Thanksgiving, everybody, and we will see you very soon. All right. Ciao.
Thank you all.
Bye, guys.